It's a big question. I give our share on that question. Does he need the mitzvahs? No, he didn't need the world to begin with. But once he created the world in a way that the world needs that he did. He created the world as if he needs the mitzvahs.
God doesn't need anything. He didn't need to create the world. But since it's his nature to give, he needed, as it were, kivyachol, to create someone, meaning Am Yisrael, to give to.
Hakadosh Baruch Hu doesn't need anything. Hakadosh Baruch Hu did a toiva. The Rabbi Yerucham Lubavitcher in the bracha says that the toiva that Hakadosh Baruch Hu did is that he made it as if that the world, that Hakadosh Baruch Hu is kilu and needs our mitzvahs. But avad Hakadosh Baruch Hu is betachas. Hakadosh Baruch Hu is perfect.
Hashem is perfect. He has everything. Elamai, he wants the perfection of mankind.
He's complete in himself. He doesn't need to do anything. He doesn't need anything from us. But he loves when we give him our attention, when we do our mitzvahs for him.
Eibishter needs my mitzvah, sure.
Hakadosh Baruch Hu gives us the opportunity and the schus of doing the entire mitzvahs. Not because Baruch Hu needs it. It's our schus that we're able to do the mitzvahs of Hashem.
Of course he needs my mitzvahs. That's the whole reason I'm here. I'm here so that I can do mitzvahs for him.
The reason why Hakadosh Baruch Hu created this world, Olam Chesed Yiboneh, there was not the world didn't exist, right? It was just Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Why did Hakadosh Baruch Hu create the world? Because Hakadosh Baruch Hu wanted to do Chesed. Hakadosh Baruch Hu wanted to be meitiv. That's the tachas of the bria is to be meitiv. And the ultimate way that a person can come to his tachas is by doing Torah mitzvahs.
He doesn't need anything. That's the thing that we need to do.
Why didn't he only give us 2 or 3 mitzvahs, or 10 commandments? He gave us 613 commandments. Why? Because he wanted to be marba schar. He wanted to give us more and more schar. That's for us. That's for us. It's not for him.
He needs me to do my mitzvahs for my benefit, not for his benefit.
Hakadosh Baruch Hu doesn't need it. We need it.
He's good and bestows good on all the creatures in this world, and that's why he gives us the opportunity to fulfill the mitzvahs. But he does not need me, I need Hashem.
If God is perfect, then why did he make me? He made me for a reason.
In the field the king will be. In the field the king will be. In the field the king will be. Don't you want to see him now?
Unfortunately, to my dismay, Manis Friedman got much worse in the last year. Almost every other lecture he mentions Gehenom and he mentions Kfirah about it, things that are the opposite of what Hashem says. Now he starts saying that HaKadosh Baruch Hu needs us. Hashem Yirachem. If we live in the world that God needs us, if we live in the world that God needs us, we should all commit suicide. Why? We cannot even take care of ourselves. You're telling me that He needs us, so who's taking care of Him?
What do you mean He needs us?
That's what I'm saying. What does He mean He needs us? What does it mean He needs us? He says He created us, therefore He needs us. I didn't ask to be created, He says. I didn't ask to be created.
So all religion is trying to gain something from God. A blessing, pleasure, reward. Judaism is the exact opposite. What happened at Mount Sinai, when God took us out of Egypt and brought us to Mount Sinai, He didn't tell us how to get to heaven. In fact, heaven isn't even mentioned in the Torah, except at the beginning. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth, and then the rest of the Torah is about earth. Heaven is not mentioned again. So we're not trying to get to heaven. In fact, we don't want to get to heaven because you got to die to get there. Not a good deal. What we want is to bring God down to earth. That's what happened at Mount Sinai. God came down to the mountain to tell us what He needs, not what we need.
So the question, just to bring back to saying, does the Eibusher need your mitzvahs? That's not a relevant question?
The answer is in Chakira, no. In Kabbalah, in Hishtalshalos, yes. In Atzmos, no. And in Chassidus, yes. The Eibush needs your mitzvahs. But don't try to understand, because it's not seichel. It's the truth.
So the different sikhs in our that speak about the Chitzani Saratzah, about the Bala isn't that trying to explain? Isn't it trying to explain to us logically all the different levels, the impact? Some
of it is Chakira, Some of it is Kabbalah, and some of it is Hasidus. That's what Hasidus
Why
does.
discuss it? That's not the ultimate reason.
I'm sorry.
So once Chassidus was Niskala, that there's something even more than what Hakir explains. So why would the Rabbeim even discuss it in those Maimonides? That's no longer...
Because you have this question. Because this class is taking place. If I came to you and I said, the answer to the question is, Azay Zol der Eibishter, you would say to me, I heard that when I was 14 and I'm sick and tired of hearing it. But it happens to be the truth.
No, we only have to question it now because that's what it says in the Maimonides. The Maimonides would just say clearly that it's Nagay and
My mom said it clearly. My mom said it clearly.
Isn't it a gay also?
But it doesn't say it clearly.
Isn't it a gay also to be understood?
I'm being quiet now. There's two people here. En Derges, is dat telt er van meer.
Weet hem met de wijze woorden.
Isn't it a context to this that when we explain it to our seichel and to our Chabad, it helps the emunah itself? It's not just a question. It's important to bring it into seichel.
Let's not get confused. There's no question. There's no question that to try to understand why the Eibishter wants is nadish. I don't understand why I want what I want. So to ask why the Eibishter wants, that's apikursus, to put it bluntly. The question is not why he wants. The question is, how important is it to him? That's a different question. I don't know why he wants it, and I really don't care why he wants it. Does he really want it? That I do need to know. Yeah? And akert, when I explain that the Eibishter wants it be'etzem, that means there's no reason. That means that there's no question even as to why. There's no why. It's rotzen. A why is always seichel. So why does the Eibishter need? I'm not going to even ask that question because we're way beyond that. You're talking about a rotzen atzmi. If he wants it be'etzem, then there of course is no reason. That would be a contradiction in terms. The question is, what does he want, not why, and does he really want it? If you tell me he really wants it, not only in Seiv of Kolam, but even in Atzmus, oh, that's serious business. Why does he want to separate meat and milk? Kol HaTorah is chukim. Why is Kol HaTorah chukim? Because he really wants it. So the fact that he really wants it explains why you can't ask why. It's almost like saying, if you ask the Eibishter why he wants mitzvahs, he'll tell you. I don't know.
So then wouldn't it be a taiva?
That's a taiva. When somebody asks you why you do what you do, and you say, I don't know, I say, oh, it's not taiva.
So when you give the explanation that the perfect person needs someone else to give over to exist, yeah. So that's not a reason for the mitzvah itself. It's the reason for the relationship. But the mitzvah itself, why you putting on tefillin, that he doesn't know. Or meaning you say, why does God want? That's apikursis. To ask such a question is apikursis. But then how do you answer? Meaning I think I'm just not understanding. Then why do we have to answer the whole relationship thing? If God's perfect, then he needs the mitzvahs. So because he needs someone else to give to. So that's asking why. Why does God want it? Because he needs a relationship.
No. What does he want?
And that you can ask.
That you can ask.
Okay, shit.
What does he want? He wants a relationship. Why?
Okay, fine. No.
Why do you want a relationship? Why would you get married? There's no good answer.
Does Chassidus ask these questions because we have a question and wants to answer a question, or because he wants us to ask these questions?
Is Chassidus asking a question?
Or brings up questions and answers because we have a question, or because they want us to ask a question to bring it into our seichel?
It seems like the Baal HaRotzen. Can you say Eibishter? You don't even know what we're talking about. The Baal HaRotzen is nisgala in stages through history, through the various parts of Torah. In Nigla, or let's say in the Aseres Hadibris, the Bala Ratzon is not very obvious. In the Viyim, the Bala Ratzon is a little more personal, like who needs your karbonas, and it's getting a little personal. In Tehillim, it's very personal. She'ashirim, right? But we still don't know how Kabbalah takes it a huge step further. And then Chassidus wants to give you the whole thing. How personal, how negeya, how involved is the Eibishter? And it has to happen that way, because if you tell a child the whole emes right at the beginning, you go right to the punchline. You say the Eibishter Atzmus Eid and Save and Atzmus She'ein L'mayla Himena needs you to do this mitzvah. You don't know how it's going to be received.
Isn't Torah Tzivalanu Moshe, that pasuk, isn't that really saying that we're not answering, or we just...
Once you know it, every pasuk says it. Once you know it, then it's so obvious from every pasuk, from every mishnah, from every statement. But until it was nizgala, it was whispered, it was hinted. If you look at the Rosh Tevis and you know that Ano Nafshi Ksovis Yehovis, but when you look at it, it's Anoich. So it has to happen in stages. So there has to be first the Seichel, and then the Chkire, and then the Kabbalah, and then, because it's all getting more and more personal, so that by the time you say the most personal statement, you're a keli for it. Otherwise, to just say, the Eibishter loves you more than anything else. Okay, no, so. And I think that that's what it means, that Chassidus hat sich gießen. You know, the marshal with the prince, and it'll spill out. What do you mean it'll spill out? How does Chassidus spill out? Sometimes when you come to people and you tell them, no, Atzmus needs the mitzvah more than you, their reaction is, well, good for him. I don't care. And then what do you say after that? That's so the shaila was, should you teach Chassidus? Because look, some of the people have such a reaction. You tell them that the Eibishter is begging you to do a mitzvah, and they say, he's begging me? I have no respect for him anymore. And the answer given was that if it'll save the matzav, soll sich gießen. So some people will, and it'll hurt the Eibishter terribly. I'm telling you how much I need it, and speis mir in Ponim. At least if I didn't tell you, I can say it's my fault. Like parents who get really upset. Oh, I didn't know you were so serious. So if you didn't know I was so serious, then I can forgive you for not taking me seriously. But once I tell you everything, there's no room for... So that's why it comes in stages, and it has to be, you have to become a keli first, and the Kabbalah sale has to come first. And first there's the Amunah, and first there's the fact of life. But then you have to save the matzav today, you have to get to it. And to some degree, the whole Baal Tshuva movement, with the outreach, with the everybody is talking about the Pintalayid and the Neshama, and language that they wouldn't use 20 years ago, or 30 years ago. And even Eish HaTorah has a little clip saying that you really should do the mitzvah for the Eibishter. They have their own language for it, but they're getting there. Instead of this, no, for me. You
should have this clip on Kingston Avenue. You should have an interview to see the contrast.
I wonder what would happen if you did this on Kingston Avenue. Why'd you hold it? He said, I'd rather not find out.
Yeah, we had a group of little boys here. Your nephew was there. And we asked them up front, does the Eibishter need your mitzvahs? And they all said no. Then we played this clip, and they changed their mind immediately.
And they said they should not do it.
Yeah.
Oh, geweldig.
Because like that, I'm not going to sound.
The question after, even though you can't ask why, because we'll never understand why, but it still remains the question.
What do you mean we won't understand why?
We can't, that we don't understand. There is no reason why. There's no seichel behind why. The question there's still a question, how? How's it possible?
Good. So that's the shaila. How can something be so deeply negeya to the Eibishter when he doesn't need anything? I mean, chkira is also emes. Talking about Torah chkira. I got it from Meir Nevuchim. It's got to be emes. So sof kol sof, we have to reconcile this. Not in madregas. How can you be perfect and have desperate need? Negeya in atzmos. You know what that means? It's negeya be'etzem. But be'etzem is supposed to be perfect. How can anything be?
But how do you know what perfection is?
Good question.
Perfection means that he's not allowed to have needs. Perfection is whatever he is.
Perfection means lacking nothing. Need means lacking something.
When Eibishter needs, what does that mean? Well, lack means what? We're satisfying something. Eibishter wants us to do mitzvahs. If we don't do mitzvahs, what happens? And if we do mitzvahs, what happens?
A ratzon is a lack. Yeah, no, of course it is.
No. A ratzon sichli is a lack. A ratzon atzmi is not a lack. It's an expression of self. If we don't do mitzvahs, the Eibishter is not missing. And if we do mitzvahs, we're giving him an achasro.
So does the Eibishter need our mitzvahs?
No. He wants them.
So now it changed. Okay, fine. So it changed the whole thing.
A little bit differently. How does Chassidus reconcile the parts of Torah which say that the Eibishter doesn't need the mitzvahs?
The kid said, the Rebbe has a siyachil. The Rebbe said, "Pashat madregas and ishtalshnos." There's different emeses. Rabbi Friedman explained it so simple. The Torah was nisgala in stages, so we should be mekabel at bepnimius. This idea of Chassidus, which is a very high idea, we have the tiniest relationship with it because first came this and then came it. So they're all relative truths. In Elam Abriya, Chakira is right. In Elam Atzilis, Kabbalah is right. In Hayad and Atzilis, what the Maimonim say about Kabbalah is right. They're all truths. They're not contradictory at all. They're different levels.
Torah is not true on every level?
It is, but there's different truths. On the level of Seichel, Torah is emes in one way. On the level of Lakus, Torah is emes in a different way. On the level of Atzmas, Torah is emes in a third way.
But what you're saying, the Chassidus is again, the mitzvahs and again atzmus mamish, the parts of Torah which say that it's not again atzmus.
No.
How is that a truth in any level? According to saying, seemingly doesn't fit with what Chassidus is saying. He'll say, yeah, in Bria that's true, but then fine. So when Chassidus that part of Torah is not true.
The Eibishter wants Bria. He created Bria. He wants Bria. So he wants Bria to have the emes of Bria. The Eibishter created Atzilus. He wants Atzilus to have the emes of Atzilus.
I would ask the question a little differently. The svara in Asiya, that the Eibishter is perfect and therefore can't need, l'chayra, going up a level doesn't help. Because if you go up a level, he should be more perfect. It's not like you can leave perfection in Elam Asiya. If you're talking in Atzmus, then over there he is completely perfect. So how can it, the kasha gets bigger. So you can say that Madrege is the Venzach Vumeret, here is this, here is that. But the Svara here applies more to Atzmus than to Asiya. In Asiya, the Eibishter is perfect. He's so perfect that he can't need. So how perfect is he in Atzmus? So the Svara, That's what we're here to discover. But there's another thing I have to point out. I thought you were saying this when you asked the question. The Eibishter gives us mitzvahs. Part of the confusion on the clip also. The Eibishter gives us mitzvahs. Why is he giving it to us? You can say, Teva Tev Lahated. for the schar, for the schus, for the whatever. The shaila is, what is the mitzvah to begin with? What is he giving us? He's giving us Shabbos. Why? Why to us? Because if you keep Shabbos, it's Mein Elam Haba and you'll have Shalom. So he's doing you a favor. Fine. But what is Shabbos to begin with? In other words, is Shabbos important to him? And if it is, why is he giving it to me? So there are two things going on here. What is mitzvah and why is it given lamata? So to say the mitzvah means nothing to him, just giving it to you is his pleasure. That's so silly. That's such narishkeit. It's not even. For a 13-year-old, it doesn't sound intelligent. It means nothing to him, so he's giving it to you. Thank you very much. Like Shirayim. I don't need this. You can have it. It's narishkeit. So what is the mitzvah to him? Is one question, and then why lamata? Why is he giving it to us? So if you say it means everything to him, and he's giving it to us as a schus, then I understand the schus. He's going to give us schar for doing it, I understand, because it's so negayah to him. But then I also understand what the Mishnah means, don't do it for the reward. I understand that. If it's so important to him, then with or without a reward. But if it's not important to him, and I shouldn't do it for the reward, so what are we left with? Stam. Shut up and do it. So our first question is, what is the mitzvah to him? And the answer is, it's him. It's him. It's kul echad. So if you say, why does the Eibishter want a mitzvah? Why is the Eibishter an Eibishter? It's a silly question. When did the Eibishter decide that he wants kosher? It says when. As long as he's an Eibishter, he wants kosher. And if you were the Eibishter, that's what you would want. Why? Why does a fish swim in water? That's why the Rebbe explains from the Yud Gimel Ikrim, HaTorah hazeh is lo tehei muchlefes. The Eibishter will never change the Torah. How do you know? And what's negayah? Let him change it. What do I care? Because if you think that the Eibishter can change a mitzvah, you have no idea what an Eibishter is. You have no idea what a mitzvah is. The Eibishter didn't think up a mitzvah. This is him. So if you wonder what is the punchline of Zohar, what is the ultimate chiddush or secret that you weren't allowed to learn until you were 40? These words, because nobody appreciated what that meant until Siddur came along. But that's what it's saying. And that's why there not only there isn't a reason, there can't be a reason. You're talking about a madrega much, much higher than reason. Higher than high. High and low is also not an atzmus. So as you were saying, if you have a rotzen atzmi, that's not you're lacking something. You are something. This is what you are, not this is what you're lacking. But that makes it more negayah, not less. We go into the word Nesava HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What is that word supposed to imply? Nesava. He had a taiva. What does that tell you? So you can take it two ways. You can say, it's not my taiva. He had a taiva. He doesn't need it. It's negayah. It's a taiva. Let him have a skafi. Halt zich ein. Or you say, it's a taiva means it's not negotiable. It's not, do you really, when do you want, how much do you, it's not the Adasidus. I'm not talking about a frivolous taiva. So when it says Nesava Kodesh Baruch Hu, it means it can't be any other way. Anders kann nicht sein. And that's why trying to find these excuses for creation. He doesn't really need anything, he just loves to do. Not a shit. He doesn't need anything, it's just his teva, which doesn't make any sense at all. If it's his teva, he really needs to do it. So how do you reconcile it? Like you're saying, what do you call perfect? Why do we think perfect means I don't need anything? That's not perfect, that's gaiva. That's perfect?
When the Eibush is L'chari Alom, and it's Gai Vagdula. No? Aber B'tarem Kol Nivra.
Then he's an Amav.
Perfect isn't having everything you need, it's more understanding the difference between what you need and what you want.
But by the Eibush, there shouldn't be a difference between what he needs and what he wants. Because he's not a child. He doesn't need without wanting, and he doesn't want without needing. He doesn't have a kavanah that he doesn't need. I created the world with a kavanah. It's also good. Come on. But what is the definition of perfect is also a human, an important human shaila. If you define perfect as not needing anybody and nobody can hurt you, then when you try to be perfect, you'll do the same thing. You'll become a monster. Hey, I'm perfect. You can't bother me. I don't care what you think. I'm perfect. That's called perfect? In some secular way, maybe. But tachlis hashlemus means I don't need you? What kind of shlemus is that?
You can only say that if there is someone else, then you need it. You can't say that before there is anything else. So before they created the world, there was nothing to need. There was no other person. There was no tachlis. No, tachlis only exists after Bria.
Yeah. So I was thinking about this, the difference between the Eibishter and the human being. You say the Eibishter had a taiva. By a human being, we're not capable of a taiva until we see it. Like, think up a taiva you never saw. Come up with a taiva that you never experienced, you never heard about. You can't. Right? First you have to see it. Something you didn't see, you can't have a taiva for. The Eibishter is not like that. But the Eibishter didn't have to experience it or see it first in order to have a taiva.
No, but
his taiva is original.
But as soon as he has a taiva, automatically it's there. So therefore, you can't say he didn't have to have it before. In order for him to have a taiva, he doesn't have to have seen it before. The very taiva is seeing it before.
In a sense, yes. The very fact that he has a taiva for it creates it.
Right.
To some degree.
Well, it's not one comes before or after; they come at the same time, and therefore it's an impossibility.
I don't know about the nigla shaila of boyim ke'echad, but there is a cause and effect. The taiva causes it to exist. If it happens instantaneously or not, but the taiva is the cause. The taiva is the cause, and it is the.
It's already part of him. That's why he's able to create it like that.
Who cares? Really? Who cares?
So the taiva is the tachlis?
Who cares? Let's do what David still wants. That's all.
Oh, the tachlis is his existence itself gets rid of tachlis because of the tachlis. It's neat.
Yeah. If you're an Eibishter, then there's a tachlis. An Eibishter without tachlis is not an Eibishter.
Yeah, the Eibush doesn't. The Eibush wasn't. You only need tachlis.
What does that mean?
When I make a hat, it's made for tachlis to wear. I make a paper. It's to write. You make nobody makes an Eibush there that there has to be a tachlis to it. Why do you need a tachlis to Eibush there? It wasn't created by someone or created by something or anything that there's a need for it. It is, and therefore its being doesn't have a tachlis. Doesn't need a tachlis.
See, that's exactly. I think we're getting somewhere. The word shleimus or perfection is that the Eibishter's existence doesn't need a tachlis.
Right.
Meaning, his existence doesn't depend. He doesn't exist for a tachlis. We all exist for a tachlis. So the tachlis gives us existence. Without the kavanah of dira b'tachtenim, we wouldn't exist. So we are a means to an end. Our whole existence, not a neshama.
Yeah.
By the Eibishter, his existence is not a means to an end. So his existence doesn't depend on anything. Therefore, it is perfect. That's tachlis hashlemus. And that's what it means. He doesn't need anything, and he's not totally in anything, and he's not mukhrach in anything. Huh?
Beginning of Rambam,
yeah.
You said it.
But if you are an Eibishter, then the Eibishter is a pnimi.
Okay.
And that's why we feel a need for a tachlis, because we're a chelik elokah mimal. The Eibishter is not a statue. So although his existence is completely independent of any purpose or function or whatever, but the pnimius of the Eibishter demands a tachlis.
From the chitzonius.
A teichen.
From the chitzonius.
What do you mean from the chitzonius? From the existence.
From itself.
From its pnimius.
What for? Why does it demand a tachlis? What do you mean demands a tachlis? What's a tachlis? A tachlis is a purpose, a reason that you're there. If the Eibishter isn't a reason that you're there, then you can't demand a tachlis.
Not a tachlis you depend on. A human being depends on a tachlis.
Right.
If I think I'm worthless, I'm going to kill myself. We're not looking at tachlis as justification for our existence. We're looking at tachlis as a third dimension. We're two-dimensional in our existence, and the third dimension is a tachlis for the existence. A teichen, not a dependency. So when a human being is looking for a tachlis, it's not a weakness. Forget it.
We look for tachlis because we need it, because we depend on it.
No. Talk about the nefesh halikis. The nefesh habahamis depends on it.
Right.
Without a tachlis, you're gone. But the nefesh halikis is not like that. Nefesh halikis wants what is the lashon? The nefesh halikis needs a tachlis because it's a pnimi.
A pnimi be'etzem.
Pnimi be'etzem.
I'm assuming that's what you mean, but I don't know.
That means the tachlis is not, in other words, a follow. So it's not academic. Meaning the tachlis is something that came about afterwards. It was the next stage. It was already a second step. It's not part of.
It's a good
second step of what? There are no steps.
I'm saying it's not atzmus. It's not as etzem as the Rishis Rotzen. It's mitzvah.
Sometimes there's the lashon of pnimius atzmus. There's atzmus and there's pnimius atzmus. What does that mean? Sometimes when it uses the word atzmus, it's talking about the etzem fact of the Eibishter's being. Like what Rambam says, amitas himotzei. So when you say atzmus, what do you mean exactly? You don't mean bones. When you say atzmus, you mean the etzem. What does that mean? So sometimes it's used to describe the etzem fact. The etzem fact of his existence is called atzmus. Not what he does or but the fact that he is. It's called atzmus. Sometimes the Maimed wants to tell you something about the Eibishter's teichen and says here, negeya and atzmus. Negeya and atzmus doesn't mean that his existence depends on it. Negeya b'atzmus here is talking about pnimius ha'atzmus. the ultimate tachlis of what makes him him, not the fact that he is. So you have to be careful when you use the word atzmos. What exactly are you talking about? So what does pnimius or atzmos? Pnimius or atzmos means the Eibishter is atzmos. He exists because he exists. Mitziyusei mei atzmusei and mechuyev hametzius and amitas himotzei. Perfect. Then there's the pnimius. This atzmos, which is perfect, has a pnimius, and the pnimius is a kavanah.
The pnimius is a kavanah, doesn't have a kavanah.
Right. And the question is only, what is it? What is his pnimius ha'atzmos?
So it's a type.
So, is the taiva a kadmon? Well, it's a good question. I don't know. Ask Gabriel.
It depends on these three inyanim, no? In Chassidus it is, absolutely.
Kadmon?
The Torah mitzvah is the Eibishter.
Yeah.
In Kabbalah,
the Torah mitzvah is not the tachlis.
Of course,
that's why
You see, again, you're mixing two things. The mitzvah is him. Why does he want the mitzvah performed lemata by human beings?
So there's the mitzvah and then there's the tachlis of the mitzvah. There's him and there's his tachlis. So him is the kadmon. The tachlis of
including mitzvahs.
Right, but the tachlis of him is la dafka.
Why?
The tachlis is that you should become him.
Even though we are him.
And how do you become him?
It's through him.
Through mitzvahs, which is
him. In other words, right, so that means that the tachlis is a way to get to him as opposed to him himself, his own existence.
Say that again?
The tachlis is it's the middle between me and him. How do I become him? It's through him.
That's the means.
Right.
But the tachlis is that you should be him. Vayemahu yihi Hashem echad u'shma yechad.